Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome in once again a Monday morning edition of the Fan Upstate's Rob Brown Show starts right now. How y'all doing? How's everybody? Good weekend? I hope. Everybody had an excellent time. Everybody back to the grind, getting ready to do it all over again. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass, this AM, the gentleman in charge of the broadcast. That's why we call him the Alpha and the Omega, the guy who makes us look, sound, and feel as good as we do. Colonel Grudge, the great one. Lonzo's in the house. What's up, dog?
Hey, did you know it's May? I don't know if you knew that.
It's gonna be May.
Not exactly how I thought of it. Now I will from now on. But yeah, today is May.
Never seems enough for you. You don't. Okay, I won't sync you guys.
Is that is who is that?
Justin Timberlake.
Oh,
son.
I thought it was Britney Spears. Huh? You know, what do I know?
NSYNC, dog.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's gonna be May. It is May. It is May already. How is it May already?
Well, it is. Today is May.
Today is you. It is going to be a good day, ladies and gentlemen, because we had a phenomenal sports weekend. Steph Curry goes off for 50 as the Kings get downed by the Dubs.
And my favorite part of the weekend is one of us got punished and one of us didn't.
All right, so you are taking
No, I'm not.
Too much pleasure.
No, I'm not. It's double my pleasure.
Weird, but I like it. Your boy on the Bet for the Cycle Radio broadcast on Saturday, by way of losing Parlay v Parlay Challenge numero uno, finally had to put down the ranch ice cream. If you have not seen the video clip yet, it is on my Twitter at twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show. Just scroll down through the media section. It shouldn't be but 2 or 3 down. And here's what I can say about the ranch ice cream, Lonzo. It is not the initial taste that is bad.
Right. It
is not the initial taste. Honestly, I was expecting much more potency out of the initial taste that I got. The initial taste, honestly, it tasted like fat-free, sugar-free, watered-down ranch. Like, it wasn't bad on the front end. It wasn't great. Like, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I enjoyed it. But it wasn't bad. I expected worse. The problem was that I had the taste of ranch in the back of my throat for about an hour and a half.
See, it lasted over a day with me.
Oh.
So yeah, that's the and I told you the first bite is not unpleasant. It's the second bite, and you went 2 scoops, and then your boy Cody poured ranch dressing on it. I think that might have helped him.
So we were having this discussion. Cody lives right now in the midst of New York City. He is the
also he couldn't find the ice cream.
Correct.
Okay, so I didn't listen to the sound.
Correct.
I just watched the video.
So Cody lives in New York City, and as far as I know, the only place to find that ice cream is the Wally World.
Yeah, I believe it's an exclusive. Good for them.
So Cody on Friday went to Secaucus, New Jersey, which is the closest Walmart to the city. Went to Secaucus, New Jersey. There's 2 Walmarts there. He hit them both. He could not find the ranch ice cream. So we had to come up with a punishment for him. And Hate Ass Mario said, why don't you just take regular vanilla ice cream and pour ranch on it. So Cody had to take, I took a scoop of the ranch ice cream. Cody had to take a scoop of vanilla ice cream and then coat it thoroughly in ranch dressing. Now, he did not go Hidden Valley. He went with some New York City health flavor, but when I asked him about it, and by the way, we jump on the stream together about half an hour before the show starts. We do a little show rundown. You know, here's what we want to talk about. Here's what we don't, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, dude, be real with me. Are you wussing out? Did you just pick up some like light, fat-free, skinny guy? It's not really ranch. It's like water that they showed to a bottle of ranch and called it ranch. And he's like, no, dude. He's like, this is potent ranch dressing. So he coated a scoop of vanilla with ranch. And he said it wasn't so much the texture as it was, or it wasn't so much the taste as the texture. He's like, because the ranch got thicker, the ice cream got thinner, and they like curdled together. He said the flavor was awful. The texture was worse. So at least for me, it was just ice cream, right? But that stuff, whatever psychopath had that idea should be joined in his cell for the rest of his life by whatever psychopath approved of it.
See, one of the things he didn't get is that initial smell, which the smell alone just makes you think that this is going to be rough. But it is it's the aftertaste more so than anything. It's not good in any means. Nope. I mean, it's not. I would not suggest this to anybody, unless, of course, you're doing a radio bet. But a couple hours later, after eating it, I was going to add something that normally you would eat ranch with, and I was like, no, I don't. No, thank you.
I did not know what to expect. I know that when I peeled the seal off the top of it, the smell of it was like ranch turned to 11.
Probably permeated and it probably
right?
stayed in the bro cave for
yes,
for a while.
The smell of the ice cream is worse than the taste of it. The taste of it really was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't the taste. It was the fact that the taste just lingers and lingers and lingers. We got done with that segment. First off, I took the ice cream to the sink because I didn't just want to dump the ice cream in the outside dumpster. I didn't want my backyard smelling like a ranch factory for a month. So I went to the sink. I turned the sink water up as hot as it could go. And I was going to melt the ice cream down the sink and then let the hot water run and flush it out through the pipes.
That's like aromatherapy, isn't it?
I don't know. I know that was the best plan I could come up with where nobody'd have to suffer through it.
Did it make the smell go throughout the room, though?
Lonzo, the ice cream didn't melt under the hot water. I started hitting this ranch ice cream with hot water, and it wouldn't melt. It just turned like wet ice cream. So eventually, I put it inside of a bag, spun it around. I put that plastic bag inside of another plastic bag, spun it around. I put both of those plastic bags inside of a scented trash bag, spun that around, zip tied it closed, and threw it in the outside dumpster.
I'm curious. You think that the ones that I put downstairs is still down there?
It can't be at this point because the only way to get rid of the scent in that freezer is going to be to burn the freezer.
No, I'm just wondering if it's permeated from the bottom up and it's made its way into the refrigerator.
I hope not because we'll have to burn that fridge.
It's a nice fridge.
We will have to fill it with concrete and sink it to the bottom of the ocean to get rid of that smell.
I do. Also, you didn't answer my text Friday for some reason, and you know it's you, so you won't answer my text. But you didn't answer my text, and I was heartbroken because I knew you would share in my joy that your troll didn't work. And here's why your troll didn't work because
you decided you didn't want to hang out with your wife and do something she wanted to do.
You can do that. You can do that. She didn't want me to go because of what I would have done.
Yeah, sure.
So I would shout out to a listener who heard what was going on and just happens to be a manager of a family member, and let that family member off early so I wouldn't have to go, because our listeners are that awesome. And I don't want to believe that it has something to do with killing your trolling. I think it has to do with liking me, and I appreciate that. There's at least one person out there who likes me, and I love that.
It is fine. I completely understand that your loving, affectionate, darling, and beautiful wife
not going to work.
Wanted to do something fun with you, and you were like, no, I just want to play video games. Had a perfect date night lined up with Miss Lisa to do something she wanted to do, had a perfect opportunity to take your wife on a lovely Friday night date, and you were like, no.
Ain't nobody buying it.
I don't want to do that.
Ain't nobody buying it.
What do you mean buy it? That's what happened.
Ain't nobody buying it. So she had.
Did you want to do Air Supply?
She had a perfect mother-daughter night. They went out to a fine restaurant in Spartanburg where they had whatever the restaurant was. I forget the name. We can give them a free plug anyway. But they had a charcuterie board, and they brought the charcuterie board out with meats and cheeses and stuff. And she found a cheese that she's going to immediately go purchase, and we're going to start enjoying. She also had to sit with my daughter, who is a chip off the old block when it comes to making fun of things. So she didn't get me, but she got the next best thing as far as, I hear that they can still well, but there were older ladies like in their 60s, like losing it.
Lonzo, the Colorado Avalanche wished you played goalkeeper for all the deflecting that you're doing.
No, I don't need to deflect. See, what you're trying to save your troll, and it ain't going to work. You ate ranch ice cream, and I did not have to go to Air Supply. I hope they're not still in the area, but, suck it, Air Supply. I mean, and my wife asked me, why do you not like Air Supply? I don't have to. I just don't like them. Okay. They're sappy.
You know why she asked you that? Because she wanted to go on a hot date with her man.
No, she didn't.
To go see a band she liked.
No, she didn't.
And her man was like, I don't want to go.
Here's the problem. All right. If you want to go low key to something and have a good time, you don't take me with you, because we know I am the party. And we also know that paparazzi follows me around. I mean, I can't go anywhere without being noticed. And sometimes she just likes to go under the radar. And you know what? I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You can't have that life all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Free date, hot date, romantic date with a gorgeous woman that you could have gone on, and you were like, no.
By the way, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is an excellent game.
You know what else would have been excellent? A hot date with your wife. But you decided not to do that.
Dude,
Rob Brown came in the clutch.
We've been married 30 years. I don't need to have that special occasion to go out with my wife. And it was not.
You could have done something she wanted to do. Listen, let's just call it what it is here, gal.
She wanted to do it, but she didn't want me to go.
Rob Brown came through as a incredible wingman.
Roy came through.
Rob Brown and Roy came through as incredible wingmen for the great one, and he just.
I don't need a wingman. I don't need one. Do you need one?
Every man needs a wingman.
No, you don't.
Every guy needs another dude in his corner to help out.
If you're doing something that you don't want someone to know about after 30 years, maybe. But no, I don't need a wingman.
Came through as a wingman, and Lonzo just said no.
Speaking of wingman, how about Kevin Love?
How about Kevin Love and his Miami Heat? Kevin Love and the Heat get it done, not just in the opening round series, but then they move on to Madison Square Garden. And with an injured Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets gets the turned ankle in that game, is hobbled for the remainder, and the Heat still got it done.
Kevin Love, the best long-range passer in the history of the NBA.
I got to tell you, there's a little bit of a renaissance happening right now for Kevin Love. He looks like Kevin Love from
he's having fun.
2012,
like when he played with LeBron.
Yeah.
He's having fun. He's got some good players around him. He's got some guys that will finish when he throws him that long pass, And he's out there taking charges like he's already did, even with white hair.
Love this guy. Jimmy Buckets, another 25. That is 6 straight games with 25 points for playoff Jimmy. We're going to talk NBA playoffs later on. We have got to talk NHL. Dude, if you're not watching the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, I don't know what you're doing with your life. The Seattle Kraken in a Game 7 last night knock off the defending Stanley Cup champs. The Boston Bruins won more regular season games this year than any other NHL team in history. They scored more points this year than any other NHL team in history. They had about 27 more wins in the regular season than the Florida Panthers did. And the Florida men came through. The Cats got it done and ended the most historic season in Bruins history. Bounced them in the first round.
Why are you wishing pain on your guy, Diddy? I mean, he was all into that. And
I'm not.
Yeah.
I am wishing pain on Brad Marchand, the jerkiest jerk in the game. There's not. Listen, I like Boston.
You're like Michael Jordan. You got to find somebody or a reason to hate. And so what has this guy ever done to you?
Look, I don't have to find a reason to hate Brad Marchand. Brad Marchand gives me a new reason every year. The guy's a clown. The guy's a jerk. All right. I like Boston. I like the city of Boston. For those of you that don't know, I grew up a Boston Celtics fan because of my unk. I like the Bruins. I like Boston. But A, they're the Florida Panthers. You know there's a little Florida man in the veins of Rob Brown. And B,
Florida man fan, not Florida man, the other kind of Florida man. You don't want to be that guy. you don't want to be that guy.
There's a little Florida man up in Rob Brown. And on top of that, I love a great upset. So we'll talk about this in the next segment. What is or was the biggest upset in sports history? Any level, any game. What is, to you, the biggest upset in sports history? We're going to ask that question after the Bruins, the greatest regular season in the history of the NHL, were up 3-1 in this series against the Panthers and then lost 3 in a row, including 2 at the house. We're going to talk about that coming up later on in the radio broadcast. But coming up next on the show, you may have heard this, Lonzo, I'm not sure. College football is going to a 12-team football playoff. Late last week, we found out the dates and the days of the first round of the 12-team playoff starting at the end of the 24 season. We're going to take a look at that because there's one very interesting setup about it. We'll break that down next. My name is Rob Brown. He's the great one, Lonzo, and you, ladies and gentlemen, are listening to the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. It's Monday, baby. All right, everybody on the stream, what's up?
So from my understanding, what I was told is the husbands that were there were wishing they weren't. They were stoic.
Not
They were.
you, Lonzo.
By the way, I'm getting from good. This is what Raven told me. So
Raven, who you just told me is just a mini you?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
of course. So you're saying she saw things that weren't really there.
No, I'm sure there were a couple of dudes who went, you know what? I don't want to see our supply, but I love my wife and I want to do things she wants to do with her.
Yeah, still not going to work. By the way, don't feel guilty at all.
I know you don't. I can tell you.
And I bet, and I guarantee you, Lisa's not upset because she had a better night going with Raven than she would have if I went. Because I'd have been like this the whole time, saying stuff and laughing the whole time.
You could have been doting upon your wife the whole time.
I don't need to dote on my wife. She's awesome.
You need to dote
She
on your
is
wife.
awesome.
Everybody needs to dote on their wife.
See, eventually you come to this thing, this place where you know that you don't want that person there for a certain thing. And she had a great time being out with her daughter. So, I mean, there's that. If I'm going for a quiet night on the town, I don't take Rob Brown with me because I will not have a quiet night. It's know the room and know the people you're with.
Sponsored by InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand gives your pets the freedom to enjoy their yard and you the confidence in your decision. With a 99% success rate, a money-back performance guarantee, and financing options, you can feel confident that both your pet and your investment are protected. Visit InvisibleFence.com.
Now, CBS.
I know, James. What an upset that was. That might be one of the greatest upsets of all time.
Diggs, what's up, big dog? Good to have you, man. Glad you came by.
Led to the closing of Globo Gym.
Hey, I've got to take Courtney on a nice date tonight because she's leaving the country for 5 days. Where do I take her? Because I would take her to an Air Supply concert, but they're not playing here. So
Courtney ain't going to no Air Supply concert.
Give me a nice restaurant.
If Courtney wanted to go to an Air Supply concert, she would have went
Courtney would
Friday
go to an Air
night.
Supply concert.
No, she wouldn't.
Yes,
She would not.
I was working, or else we would have gone.
Mm-hmm. So she needs you to be with her to go somewhere.
No.
If she wanted to go, she would have
If
went.
you're gonna go see Air Supply, you go as a date.
It doesn't work. You keep trying. It's not going to work.
College football, you may or may not have heard at this point, is going to a 12-team playoff model. That is going to start in the 2024 season. So one more season with a 14 playoff, and then it's on. First round games are set.
Wait, I thought it was this season that happened.
Is it this season? Next season.
It's not 23-24?
See, now you got me all.
No. There's a very good chance that I'm wrong, but I just to make sure.
Dude, I should know this off the top of my head, but now I'm questioning everything about myself. College football playoff format will officially begin in the 2024 season. Yeah, it's 2024 season. It's 2023.
Which culminates in 2024.
Right, but it is considered the
okay.
2023
All right.
Right? Yeah, I'm right. I should get used to that. Anyway, when the college football playoff expands to the 12-team tournament, the first round games are set in the third week of December. So the weekish of Christmas. Quarterfinal and semifinal matchups will be spread out across more than one day of football, according to Bill Hancock, who broke this for us late last week.
Sorry for the confusion. Just for clarification, you're absolutely right.
That's what I do. Sometimes. However, in a move to avoid competing head-to-head with NFL games, the college football semifinal matchups will be played on weeknights, with the expectation being we will have one semifinal on Thursday night and one semifinal on Friday night. Why? So that college football playoffs don't have to go up against NFL wildcard games. The inaugural first round games of the expanded college football playoff will be Friday, December 20th, 2024. One of the games will be that day. The other three games will be on Saturday, December 21st. Playoff officials are also looking into setting midweek games for the 2024 quarterfinals, with 3 games on January 1st and the 4th on either December 31st or January 2nd, once again, to avoid conflicting with the National Football League. In the existing 4-team CFP format, the days on which the semifinal games have been played has changed, while the national championship game has been played on Monday nights after the end of the NFL's regular season, and its Monday Night Football package had concluded. Now, as the expanded NFL regular season moves further into the month of January, with many games being played on Saturday, there's less space on the calendar for college football playoff to pick its dates. So we're going to get a bunch of games with the opening round games being played on a Friday and a Saturday to avoid the NFL, and then the semifinal games being played on back-to-back consecutive weeknights in order to avoid the NFL playoffs, which, ladies and gentlemen, is no surprise at all. Because when it comes to the attention of America, though college football does just fine, the NFL is king to the country as a whole. Now, there are certain geographical areas where that is not the case. I can tell you across most of Alabama, college football remains king. It will turn in more listeners than, or more viewers than the NFL. But in just about every metro market, large market, the Chicagos, the LAs, the New York Cities, etc., the NFL is king. And college football is at its core a business. This is not new. This is nothing different. We've been telling you this for years. College football's objective is to make as much money as possible out of everything. That's basically what we have here. The job is to make as much money as possible. And even if it would be more convenient to play these games on a weekend, it would be easier on the kids. It would be easier on the coaches. It would be easier on the stadiums, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, the number one objective, the objective that is more important than every other objective, is for the NCAA to make as much money off of football as it possibly can. So they're not going to go head-to-head with the NFL, which is the right decision, by the way, right? Which is the right decision. A lot of us got multiple TVs. A lot of us would go to the bar. But if you're a bar owner, what sound do you put the game on? Do you put it on a wild card playoff game? Or do you put it on a college football semifinal? Again, it's going to be region by region where one of those wins out over the other. That's a crap decision to have to make.
This is great news because you've got meaningful football in every single game, whether it's the NFL or college football. Like
4 nights in a row.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Thursday night semi, Friday night semi, Saturday night wild card, Sunday wild card. That's a good stretch of ball. Good stretch of ball. But I saw folks on the socials asking, why is this the way that they structured it? And the answer is because the NFL is king of all sports across the United States, and college football is a business driven by being as profitable as possible. So they're not going to go up against the king knowing the king's going to get his no matter what. They're going to put it on a Thursday and Friday because you're all more likely to watch. Just when I say you all.
But there's some college people out there just dumbfounded right now, don't understand because they believe that anyone out there who's a football fan will watch the college game over the NFL game every single time, and they're wrong. Maybe in some cases, if it's a wild card where you're like, yeah, but chances are, unless one of my teams is playing in the college, which one of them will be in the playoff that night, I'm probably going to pick the NFL game over the college game every time.
Yeah, again, it's.
Yeah, but Lonzo, you're an NFL guy.
By the way, I just got our buddy Thomas from the warehouse just texted and said my sound. He said my sound will be on college ball. And again, in Greenville, South Carolina, and in the surrounding metropolitan area, yeah, college is gonna get the sound.
But now you don't have to make that choice.
Correct. In the majority of the country, the NFL is going to get the sound because the NFL outdoes college. Just over and over. Monday Night Football is the most watched television show in America. The Super Bowl is the most watched single game sporting event in America. But this decision was made so that Thomas doesn't have to make that decision, right? This decision was made so that if you are Robin Zoe sitting at the house on a Thursday because you got that early wake-up call on Friday and you only got the one TV to watch on, you don't have to flip back and forth and miss important spots. You get one or the other. If you were the cat who gets mad at me when I point out that fans can give all the lip service that they want. Well, because it's about tradition. It's about pageantry. It's about passion. It's about love of the game. That's an idealistic world that sounds, frankly, very nice to live in. I wish that I did, but it is not, y'all.
But it did
It
did exist at one point to a degree.
Yeah, 1950.
Nah,
Yes.
no.
College football has been a money-driven business since the 80s at the latest.
Okay, because I think in the 70s it was still pretty pure.
Maybe. I'm going to be real honest with you, Alonzo. I was not a glimmer in my father's eye at that point.
Right.
Is it now? My question would be, is that true? Or is this just the glory days bias, right? Like everybody believes that everything was better back in my day. Everybody believes everything was better.
I gotta
back
say,
in their day.
football's better now for sure. The bigger, faster, stronger thing. We're seeing things that never would have been imagined back when football was first thought up. Yeah, it's better now. But as far as atmosphere and stuff goes, I don't know. It might have been different then, because football is all there was before the internet and things like that. So it probably meant more because there wasn't anything else. There were no distractions. There was nothing else to do.
I think there was probably a point where you had a combination of two things. First off, for a very long time, the NFL was not the juggernaut that it is today, right? For a very long time, the NFL was a much more geographically specific sport, A. And B, up until just a couple of decades, well, I guess 3 or 4 decades ago, the rosters of most colleges and universities was primarily composed of kids from that area or that state, right? Until probably the 90s, maybe the 80s. If you put up the roster of the Alabama Crimson Tide, the majority of kids on that roster were from Alabama, right? I suspect if we go pull the roster of 1978 Clemson football roster, I suspect if we pull that roster, we're going to see a lot of kids from South Carolina on it. You're not going to see quite as many guys. Recruiting's an international game now, right? But it used to be that you liked the college around you because it represented the area around you. So with the NFL turning into the money-making juggernaut that it is, and with college football recruiting being quite literally an international game now, the Saints drafted a punter from Australia this weekend. It's an international game now.
Does he punt rugby style or is it?
He does. He is also coated head to toe, tats up to the neck. He also, after he quit Aussie Rules football to be a scaffolding builder for a couple of years, decided, let me just see if I can play American football. And now he's in the league. Interesting cat. Point is, recruiting's an international game. Colleges don't represent a specific region or territory anymore. They just represent the school. So when all those factors came together, I think the NFL overtook college football as America's favorite sport. So that is why, at its core, college football decided, you know what? Let's play the semis on a Thursday and a Friday. Let's not go head to head with the league because we can't win that fight. Can't win that fight. We would lose a solid chunk of our audience. Let's just have our own 2 nights. And frankly, I think that's good. I think the college football semifinals, even if they're not on a Friday and a Saturday, or excuse me, a Saturday and a Sunday, or just a Saturday start to finish, I want the semifinals to have their own nights to celebrate.
Here's the thing.
I don't want a 2 o'clock semifinal game.
Normally during that time, you'll be having meaningless bowl games that hardly anyone will watch. Now you're going to have meaningful bowl games that a lot of people will watch.
Yeah. Yeah. How many of y'all have gotten hype about New Year's Day's bowls over the last couple of years, right? I mean, it's like it's fun to talk about, I'm sure. But a New Year's bowl game hasn't really been the point of honor that it's been in a very long time. Now they are. Now I got to tell you, in years past for Rob Brown, New Year's Day was like a fun day to sleep off the hangover. Just kind of have college football in the background. Now, all of a sudden, New Year's Day has got some weight to it. I love it. I think it's a great setup. I think it's the right setup. I'm not looking forward to that Friday morning when Lonzo and I got to come in here all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after we stay up till midnight watching a game because Eastern Coast time is the worst. But for a college football semifinal, I shall suffer for your entertainment.
Come on, they'll start that thing around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. They're not going to push it to 9 or something.
Yeah, they will.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
they will not.
Especially, not that we will ever get here, but especially if we get to the point where there's a USC involved in it or an Oregon involved in it. If there's a Pac-12 team, they will start that game at 9:30 our time. That makes it 6:30 West Coast time on a Friday or Thursday. You can't start it at 5:30 on West Coast time, especially if there's a Pac-12 team involved. You can't start it at 5:30 on a weekday. You got to push that thing to 7:30 Pacific, which is going to make it a 10 o'clock kick for us.
Well, what if they're playing an East Coast team?
It won't matter. You cannot give up the nation's biggest television audience by sticking them in a 5:30 kickoff on a workday. Can't do it. It is more important because they know.
Well, I can't wait to get there to find out.
Next year. 1 year, 7 months from now, we will get some answers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's run to a break. Skrilla said, back in my day, mate, you could hope to see your favorite on TV. Now you stream your team's content almost 24 hours a day. Yeah. Yeah. But the time that a kickoff happens still matters, right? I don't want you having to watch my game on your phone because you only have one TV. Hudson said, greatest upset in sports ever, the little Giants over the Cowboys. That's a good one. Let's keep it for real.
Don't make Becky angry, man.
Icebox. James said, back in my day, I was 12. Of course, everything was better. Yeah, I remember not responsibility. Texas said, fan, college football is the best. Too many idiots wear NFL jerseys at games. Nah. I've been to some college football games with some losers, my dude.
All you judgmental Jersey people. Wow. You don't play on that team. What are you wearing that jersey for? Come on. Do you know how you sound when you say that? Go away.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we got to start breaking down the 2023 National Football League draft. We'll get some draft grades to hand out, and we'll start working on it when we come back. I am Rob Brown. He's the great. When you're listening to the Rob Brown Show, you're listening to the Fan Upstate.
You know how much money teams make off of jersey sales?
I got all the jerseys.
Yeah. That attitude is so dumb.
Of course, I do put my own name on them.
Good for you. I don't have a problem with that. No, not wearing jersey, guys. This is so lame. This is so lame. I hope you're in the stream. This is lame, dude.
Top 25 heading into last week's action. Wake Forest and South Carolina were second and third, both with 34-6 records. Coastal Carolina 6th in the nation. The Campbell Camels 9th. East Carolina 12th. The Duke Blue Devils 20th. The Braves and Mets were rained out in Queens on Sunday. They'll play a doubleheader today. The first game starts at 1:10 Eastern. Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
At Spectrum Business, we believe small businesses like yours are the backbone of our economy and the heart of every community. That's why we provide the best value for internet, mobile, business phone, and TV to keep small businesses connected with their customers. To celebrate National Small Business Week, we're offering savings of up to $350 to meet all the connectivity needs of your business. Learn more at spectrum.com/business. Spectrum Business. No nonsense, just business. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
The siren song of the sea beckons with a boundless treasure and a desire that must be fulfilled.
Here's your seafood order, Mr. Willem.
Well, did you get me wild sashimi tuna?
Yes, sir.
And the Charleston crab cake, bourbon salmon, and wild mahi-mahi with mango salsa?
It's all in the bag.
At Ingles, our extensive seafood department offers a huge variety from your local catch to flavors from around the world. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Yeah!
Every Friday.
Baseball is back. The free Odyssey app lets you listen to local coverage for the team you love. Live stream your favorite sports radio station, or jump back and listen to the best segments on demand.
Don't forget
we talk to the manager every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Don't listen to some guy from the other side of the country tell you about your team. Live conversations for your local team, no matter where you are. Your season, your Odyssey. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today.
Hello, I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds.
Every time I get a jersey, the player goes to another team. Hate that.
We've helped over 15,000 businesses claim over $5 billion in cash incentives. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. Every client is assigned a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to accurately determine eligibility. Innovation Refunds has hundreds of 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google, and your business might be entitled to receive up to $26,000 per employee. Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction, even nonprofits. Please don't miss out on this. Even your doctor would tell you to get an expert second opinion, and we do a lot of work for doctors. Download the Innovation Refunds app now or go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of $26,000 per employee. GetRefunds.com. GetRefunds.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You use the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the band.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always rock from the free Odyssey app. CBS Radio.
The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you. Lonzo, we've got the results from the 2023 NFL Draft. We're going to get into some of the picks top to bottom. Overall, if I asked you assign a grade to the Carolina Panthers draft, Bryce Young, first overall pick out of Alabama. 39th overall pick, they go wide receiver, Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. Third round, 80th overall, they go DJ Johnson, the edge rusher out of Oregon. Fourth round, they go Chandler Savala, a guard out of NC State. 5th round, they go Jamie Robinson, a defensive back from FSU. What are your overall thoughts on this?
All right, so I'm going to go with A- just because Bryce Young's still short. I'm pretty happy with the draft overall. And again, the Panthers recently, historically, have been really good at drafting. There have been you get a bust here and there, but usually they do pretty well. And I think they've done a very good job. The best thing for Bryce Young is how good that offensive line is for the Panthers already. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. Again, he's going to have to scramble a lot. I'm not. If he wins the Super Bowl, he's still short. I'm not going to stop that. Okay. I've been asked, will I stop that? He's still short. Okay. He's still. I don't know if you knew that.
You're not going to stop until he wins.
Oh no. I'm still going to continue even if he wins, because as he said, he's been told that all his life. So why stop now? Will I be
civility?
Let's see, what's that? Will I be upset if CJ Stroud does better than him and the Panthers could have had CJ Stroud? I won't have to be, because everybody else will be. And those vocal people who are very loud and will, after the first loss, will just go after him, those guys are going to be there.
Yeah, and I don't think those guys are right. It's a crapshoot. You get every bit of information you can make, but the reality is they could both be Hall of Famers. They could both be bust. They could be both somewhere in the middle. And there's no way to know. You are taking a shot in the dark.
One thing about it, both those guys more than likely are day one starters. So we're going to find some things out right away.
See, I don't know. I don't know if Bryce won. I'm not saying he's not a day one starter. You don't have to make him a day one starter.
What? So you're throwing out the rifle. You're not putting Bryce Young out there.
If he's not 100% ready, yes. Andy Dalton was a drop pass away from winning the division last year. Granted, it was a crap division, but it's not like the division is going to be dramatically better this year. I think the Saints had a B+ draft. I think the Panthers had an A draft. I think there's some questions about values in the second round. We're going to come to that here in just a minute.
Right now, because others are unproven, the Saints still have the best quarterback in the South for now.
I would agree with that. Right now, today, the Saints have the best quarterback in the NFC South in Derek Carr. I think there is all the possibility in the world that BY could take that moniker from him. The point that I'm making, though, is that while we do want to be competitive in the division, everybody does out of the gate. You do not have to throw BY out there immediately. He can be a day one starter. He does not have to be if he doesn't look like he's got a good grasp on it. And I can't imagine he won't. The whole reason Bryce Young is Bryce Young is because of how he sees, processes, and executes the game. But if he's not 100% ready day one, you don't have to force him out there.
See, that's just shocking, because I think you draft him because he's going to start day one. I would be completely shocked if he's not out there day one.
See, I wouldn't be completely shocked. Again, it's going to be, can he grasp the game?
See, you keep saying that. You keep saying, can he grasp? Because from what I understood, the S2 scores are very important, and he did really well. And supposedly he has a great grasp of any offense. He's a good student of the game. He's the smartest guy on the field. We've heard so many things about that. So the only reason why he wouldn't play would have more to do with ability than it would be brains. Correct. According to what everyone has said. So he should be smart enough to be out there the very first day.
I would agree with that. Theoretically, he should be a day one starter. But if he's not 100% ready, you don't have to roll him out. Now, I like the pick of Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. All right. Mingo was perhaps a bit of a reach at 39. There was still some talent on the board, maybe some guys that should have been first rounders. But I think he's the type of guy that could factor in surprisingly well. Played in just 21 games during his first 3 seasons at Ole Miss, but this past season, 51 snags, 861 yards, and 5 touchdowns. But What is interesting about Mingo is going 6'2", 220, he's kind of got that DK Metcalf factor. He's kind of got that factor of get it close, and he is going to muscle out a catch, right? That's what he feels like. Get it close, and he's going to be able to muscle you out a catch. It's a bit of a project pick.
Panthers have a lot of receivers, dude.
I agree.
They have a lot. All those guys are not making the team probably.
Thielen's obviously in. Shy's in. TMJ is in. I'm calling now Mingo's going to make this team. There's no doubt about it. John Mingo's going to make the team. John Mingo is a mismatch monster. Mingo and Thielen on the same side of the floor is scary. In fact, I'd be willing to say John Mingo is going to cut dramatically into the PT of Terrace Marshall because he provides the same type of game, but with more muscle to him. We'll keep an eye on that. He was a highlight reel guy last year for Ole Miss. And if Frank Reich is creative with the offense in Carolina as he was with Indy, he's a utility player. Now, I think you probably could have traded back about 10 spots and likely Mingo would have been still available. But either they could not have found a deal or they didn't want to take the risk because the smoke was out there. Other guys were interested. The Panthers traded picks number 93 and 132 to move up to number 80 overall. Those were the two picks they got, the lower picks, for the trade of Christian McCaffrey. That turns into DJ Johnson. Now, this one I do find a little bit more interesting. There were other prospects on the board at the same position that were graded out a little bit more highly than DJ Johnson. 24 years old, but he ran a 4.49 40 for an edge rusher that's quick. He goes 6'4", 260, which means that you're going to have to stand him up and play him at an outside linebacker spot. He's not going to be a traditional defensive end. But he is a guy that is an edge setter, right? He's a guy you're going to stand up at OLB. You're going to get him up the field and then eyes up to make sure nobody crosses his face. And he's got a lot of power to his game. Even at only 240, the dude's got strength to move offensive tackles. I'm really intrigued by this because you traded a third and a fourth round selection for this guy who was considered by most to be a fourth round prospect or worse, which means Carolina sees something in him that they like. I do too. As a 3-4 and a guy that plays traditional defensive end, if he can figure out how to play OLB, if he can figure out how to play from standing up a level deep, DJ Johnson has a ton of upside, right? He's a project, but he's got a ton of upside. But he's got to learn the position. Got to learn the position. And that's a big grab. I will say this. They passed on LSU's B.J. Ojulari, who I really, really liked as a prospect, who was selected, I think, 2 picks later. So I think Johnson is a little bit of a push. I think you could have kept your third and fourth and maybe still got that guy. But we're going to find out. They saw something they liked. And then Chandler Zavala. Zavala is a fourth rounder, projected right around the area he was taken, played left guard, but he can play both sides of the line. And guess who his teammate was back in 2021? Ike Ekwonu. So now you've got chemistry there with your backup. I like that. I like that. With Brady Christensen coming off a broken ankle, with Austin Corbett recovering from ACL surgery, you bought an insurance policy who already knows the guy who's going to play next to. It's a good pickup. We'll give you some more thoughts when we come back. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
You kept track of the WWE draft?
To some degree, yeah.
Dude, they have basically depleted NXT.
So I was under the impression some of those guys were going to be doing both shows for a while.
Well, most notably, the women's champion, Indy, moved up. The tag team champions moved up.
Yep. Didn't all the women's champions moved up, right?
Yeah, right. Most a good bunch of NXTs moved up, which is what it's there for, so they can get the talent ready and move it up. But they did the thing, which we'll be talking about Thursday about the belt. You saw where Cody went.
Yeah.
Moving Lashley over to Raw is interesting. I can't remember. Has Reigns beat Lashley yet? Probably. I'm just going to be interested when everybody moves up from NXT, what NXT is going to look like. Maybe it's time for Tony D to start to shine a little bit more.
I mean, he's got the blessing of sweet Uncle Carmine.
That's right. Carmine's in your corner.
Business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor.
Did you watch SmackDown yet?
No.
Oh, so you don't know what happens at the end. Okay.
Not yet.
It was a busy weekend. I get it.
Yeah, I
think once you get past the first round, as far as the NFL draft goes, it's just easier to just read. I mean, because I just, so I watch SmackDown live, I think. They haven't split a team yet, though. They're taking entire teams and moving them so far.
So they spent all this time talking about how tag teams were
they're not done
able to be split.
I mean, Monday night,
not doing that.
Monday night they could still do that, and there's still trades.
Yeah.
Here's football legend Howie Long for Skechers hands-free slip-in footwear. The world has gone hands-free. Using the phone, turning on your
But you have to kill off storylines for the most part, and reset and start new ones, which is kind of cool.
Introducing Skechers hands-free slip-in footwear. Let me tell you, these things are amazing. You don't need to lace up, and
No, we're not talking wrestling because we're fighting. We're just talking wrestling because it's interesting right now.
So what's the secret? There's a special smooth comfort pillow in the heel that helps your foot slide into place and also keeps your feet secure in heavenly comfort, which means they stay on just like a pair of laced up sneakers. And you can even slip into them while you're sitting down. Make your life easier and go hands-free with Skechers.
I finally beat Hogwarts yesterday because Raven was pressuring me because she wants to talk about the ending and she can't until I beat it. So I beat it yesterday.
I can start playing it in 4 more days.
To make a change, and the change will probably happen. A change will do you good. A change will do Sheryl Crow, I think. Sheryl Crow, right? I believe it's Sheryl Crow. She who believes you should wipe with one square toilet paper. One square? Who uses us?
Up for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way, nominated.
Cheryl?
The nominations just came out, yeah.
We're sturdy in here. It takes a little more than one.
Liberob the woke warriors. Absolutely. Hashtag team save the planet. Absolutely. Hashtag team conservation. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if you tell me I'm only allowed to use 1 square, I better move next to a river or something because that ain't going to work. All right? That ain't going to work.
Is that nature's bidet?
Same break show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now 9 to noon, only on the Fan, Upstate. Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
The official sports voice of UUP Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Always live from the field.
Man, check this out.
For an official Drop Brown Lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the...
I was asked in the restroom if I've watched a USFL game this year. My answer was no.
I'm glad you brought that up, Lonzo. I thought about that a little bit this weekend because do you have any idea where we are in the XFL season?
Should be approaching playoffs.
Oh, no. The next game's the championship.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So Lonzo said that during the break, or a break, he went to the little boys' room, as he is wont to do, and was asked by one of our coworkers, have you watched any USFL games yet? And I told y'all that right before the XFL season started up, and again, right before the USFL season started up, that I planned on watching as much as I could. More football is good. More good football is better. I very much I want these leagues to succeed. I would love to have some lower level feeder leagues that give us good football around the calendar. And I meant that. I was very much leaning in to that. Well,
yeah,
here we are.
I want them to succeed too, because it gives some talent a chance to develop and get another opportunity with the NFL. Yeah.
And again, it gives me football to watch, right?
Except you're not watching it.
I haven't watched a game, dude.
I watched the first XFL game. That was it. I haven't watched any USFL.
I have not watched a game. Now, I've watched chunks here and there. Like if it's late at night and I'm flipping around and I come across the New Orleans Breakers versus the Memphis Gamblers.
Hey,
no, that's Houston.
I'm shocked you got one name right, and I think you got it right. I'm not positive, but I think you did.
I know the Houston Gamblers, the Birmingham Stallions, Memphis Showboats. That's what I was thinking of. The Showboats. Michigan has the Panthers. I only know that because now they're the third professional Panthers. New Jersey has the Generals. And if you gave me $100, I couldn't name you who the other teams are. That's a pretty good run. I think I got, 6? That's a pretty good run. I've not watched the game. And it's for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that I'm going to be real with you. The only advertising I get for the USFL is like during wrestling shows, right? I get Michael Cole going this Saturday on Fox. And that's it. Number 2 is spring football is just fine with me. But it's wrapped up in the middle of so many other things. It's hard to find time, right? I've got the playoffs for Lord Stanley's Cup happening right now. I've got the playoff for the Naismith Memorial Trophy right now. I've got Major League Baseball happening every day for 200 straight days, it feels like. I've got soccer with the MLS getting into it, with the Premier League and La Liga and Serie A all coming to their playoffs. There are so many sports happening in the spring. Like football owns the fall, right? Football owns the fall. I can barely get NBA talk in here in the fall because you guys want to talk football. And I'm good with that. But a prop-up league in the spring so far just isn't working. And I from y'all's opinion, my question is, why? Right? First off, let's start with how many of y'all have put time into the XFL or the USFL? How many of y'all have watched more than a game? I'm talking sat down like, okay, let's watch this game. Not, I checked in on some highlights. Not, I saw the Sports Center top 10 plays. How many of y'all have actually sat down and put the time into a USFL or XFL game? Because I said I was going to. I said I wanted to. I planned on giving it a shot. And then I just haven't. And it's been a combination of I haven't had time. It's been a combination of there's so much other stuff happening right now. It's a combination of there's a lot of other sports that I'm trying to keep up with for the job. And it's a combination of it's not bad football, but it's just not world-class football that I take time out of my time to watch in the fall.
My answer to him was, it's just out of season and it's hard for me to get into it. And he said, basically, it's just it's basically college football. But it's college football without the following.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
like watching the G League, I guess.
Now, see, I can't say I watch a ton of G League. With the G League, I watch players, right? I watch players with the G League. There are players, there are prospects I'm interested in. I've watched a couple of games of G League, but traditionally it's because I'm watching a guy that might end up being a Pelican one day or be playing along with LeBron next year or whatever. With the USFL and the XFL, and this is one of those things that when this all got started, and I was giving out some thoughts on how they could promote themselves, what was the number one thing I said they ought to do? Focus on the personal side of things. Focus on the players. Introduce me to that left guard that lived out of his car in a Walmart parking lot for a month. Try to make a team. Introduce me to the guy who was the last player cut from Bill Belichick's 53 man, who got told, go sharpen up your skills and we'll have a place for you in the future. And I gotta be honest, I don't even know if they are or aren't doing that because I just haven't come across a game, right? I got YouTube TV at the house. That's what I watch my television on. And at night when I get home and I turn on the TV and I go to the little live menu and I start scrolling down what's on TV. I have it set up, Zoe, to where the sports channels have two rows. They have the row of here's what's on live right now. And then there's another row that says the next live game is live upcoming, right? And it's like almost nightly as I scroll down, I feel like upcoming in 17 hours, Showboats versus Breakers, Gamblers versus Maulers, because that's one, the Pittsburgh Maulers. I constantly see the here's what's upcoming live, but never what, like with the NBA, if I scroll by in the regular season and I see coming up live, Lakers Warriors at 10:30. I'm like, all right, 10:30. Goes into the brain, goes into the noggin. The lady friend's asleep. I'm going to turn it on at 10:30 and watch Lakers Dubs. During the season, during the football season, SEC Network, live and upcoming, Texas A&M, Alabama, Big Ten Network, live and upcoming, Penn State, Ohio State. And I'm making notes of when all these games are so that I can enjoy them. Yeah? I have not done that one time with the XFL or the USFL at this point. And I'm kind of out of reasons why. It's okay football, right? Like, it's okay football. You've seen a little bit. It's okay football. It's not bad. It's just not NFL caliber, right? I have said for years, I am a fan of women's sports. But the biggest challenge that women's sports has is that it's not as physical or fast as the men's side. I think I can be a feminist or whatever, but still recognize that as reality. The WNBA does not move as fast or fly as high as the NBA. Doesn't make it bad basketball. It's just different. The USFL and the XFL should be more interesting to me because it much more relies on tactics, schemes, play styles, chemistry, fundamentals, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things I love about football. But I just have not gotten to a point where any of this makes me go, I need to be in front of a TV at 10 o'clock this Saturday to watch the two teams whose names I forgot already. You see what I'm saying? Why did this not scratch that? Has it caught on? Are there folks out there watching? If you are watching USFL, if you are watching XFL, hit me. And here's the thing. If a league was going to catch me, XFL should have been it, right? Dwayne Johnson in charge of this thing. A lot of good players out there getting picked up out of college, giving themselves a chance to get better and try to make it to the show. The scheduling isn't awful. The XFL games are traditionally during the day. There's really no reason the XFL should not grab the attention of one Rob Brown. But it just hasn't. And my job is supposed to be to come in here, talk about a sports thing, and then go, in my opinion, here is why blank, right? Here's why Jalen Hurts got his contract. Here's why LeBron still needs to be watched. But I can't really answer the question, why are the XFL and the USFL not getting love? Why is no one talking about it? Is it because it's just not NFL caliber? Is there no room for football in your life that's not the caliber of the NFL or Power 5 college football?
You've heard people say, I'd like football, all year round, but there's not enough of those people to make these other leagues successful. At least it doesn't appear to be.
I think it's an easy thing to say.
And what is success? I mean, what do they have to do to be successful? Make money, I guess. Get viewers.
From a fan perspective, what they got to do to be successful is get good enough. I take time out of my day to watch them. And I just haven't yet, right? Now, I kind of look at the USFL and the XFL the way that I look at mid-major division football, right? We love our guys over at Furman. Big fan of the Dins. Furman has to put a hell of a lot of effort to get a quarter of the audience that Clemson gets, or that Carolina gets. And they put on a fantastic show at a football game, man. Furman football games are fun. I know what that struggle looks like. I have worked for a lot of lower level professional teams. I work for 2 right now, right? It's a fight to get people to show up. It's a fight to get people to be there. It's really easy in the heat of the moment to go, oh yeah, I'm all in for this. I'm all in for that. It's another thing to practice it, to execute it, right? It's like when you're sitting around at a dinner party with people and somebody goes, hey, next Wednesday, we should all go do this thing. In the moment, super easy to go, hell yeah, that sounds great. I'm in. Let's do that. Yeah, let's go. That'll be amazing. And then that next Wednesday rolls around and it's like, oh, I got so much going on. The kids got practice. I got to get dinner ready. I got to go to the grocery store.
You don't have to worry about that with
garden.
me. I'm just going to say no. I'm not doing that. So, but I get what you're saying.
Right, but you never would have said yes in the first place. I'm using a very specific example. I'm giving you the example of when somebody says, I want to do a thing, and you're with all the other people, it's very easy to get caught up in that moment and say how excited you are to do that thing, right? Can't wait to do that thing. Doing that thing is going to be fun. Can't wait, let's go. And then it's the day of that thing. And without all that excitement and enthusiasm of all the other people around you, sometimes it's hard to get the juice to do that thing.
XFL and USFL both have come and gone a couple times. What makes the execs think, okay, it's going to work this time?
First off, I think they've got more TV support behind them than they had in the past, right? When XFL Volume 1.0 came along and Vince was running it as a WWE show with football instead of wrestling, you had excitement because it was something we never seen before, right? No coin toss. Two guys are going to fight each other at midfield for the ball. Whoever gets it gets the ball. Whatever. It was new, it was exciting, it was fun. But just like in wrestling, Zoe, gimmicks go stale after a while. You have to reinvent. With the USFL, it's the first time they're able to actually pitch it as we've got the backing of the NFL, right? The NFL is using us as a rules testing experimental laboratory. And so they're pimping that. And the TV execs bought into that. But the point here is, I guess, even with all of that and even with more TV support because of the background support than ever before, we're still not watching it. I am relatively dialed in. I am relatively dialed into sports and sports fans in this area, right? When the Panthers texted Bryce Young, I got like 30-11 texts in the moment at the Kenny Chesney concert. When Steph dropped 50 last night, I got 4 or 5 texts from people. Rob Brown, did you see Steph? The XFL season is coming to its conclusion, which none of us knew. The USFL, so how many weeks have we played USFL football so far, Zoe?
I'm going to go with 2.
Sure. I don't know. As dialed in as I'd like to think that I am, I ain't had none of y'all hit me with a, Rob, did you see that? Rob, did you know this guy was that? Did you know this guy over here was that? Did you know this team did that? Did you know this player played here? None of it. So what do you do?
All right, I just brought up the USFL division standings. There have been 3 games.
So there you go.
So it's close.
So what do you do? How do you get next level if you're these leagues? James said the XFL needs more star players. Sorry, Trey said XFL needs more star players. James said, I need to see it last more than 4 months. Remember the XFL, or was it? XFL last time got screwed by COVID, right? USFL powered through. They're going for year 2. But last year they played every game in Birmingham. So unless you were in Birmingham, you couldn't really get connected to the team. That hurt them a little bit. So it's going to be a little interesting. But as I said, I think you need to grow superstars. I think you need to tell stories. You need to give me a reason to want to watch. One of the quarterbacks in the USFL is A.J. McCarron, right? Is his story worth following? I don't mean to be rude, but
I just
are
looked
any of
up.
us thinking AJ's going to show back up in the league with a year or two of semi-pro experience and be a guy?
So when I looked up the standings, I also looked at the stats just because I was curious, because I thought there was a couple big name quarterbacks in that league, including AJ McCarron. He's not leading the league in passing. So if you are in a lower league after 3 games and you have actually played in the NFL and you're not leading the league in passing, you're probably not going back to the league.
Yeah. So is that a story I want to follow?
But I don't slight them for trying. I mean, if you're an older guy no longer in the league, but you still want to play, it's playing time. It's still playing football. And if you're still capable, go for it. But I don't know, economically how it can last. If you're not getting enough people watching, you're not getting enough people actually showing up to be at the games.
Well, listen, keep in mind, just like every other sport, USFL, XFL, yes, ticket sales matter. But it's the TV revenue that floats the league. Every league, any level, it's the TV revenue that floats you. Scratch that. Any professional league, top tier level, it's TV revenue. And the XFL and USFL are getting TV revenue enough to stay on top right now, or to stay afloat, I should say, right now. But if we know gimmicks get stale, how long is that going to work? And what comes next? And I don't know that we have anything. I don't know that there is anything that we can say this is what's going to carry them. You're not getting stories. You're not getting, again, what player right now in the USFL has done the best to get themselves into the league? Quick, name me one. What player in the XFL right now is going to be the next he hate me? Name me one. Right? I'll tell you what the best thing the XFL and USFL can do. Bust it and get 3 or 4 players into the NFL, right? Get 3 or 4 players into the league who become good players in the league. Because what you need is the NFL to say your name. What you need is to have Collinsworth going, well, here's a guy right here who just came up from the New Orleans Breakers, spent 2 seasons down there in the USFL, and once they moved him from slot to X receiver, his numbers really took off with the Breakers. He got a tryout to camp by this team, and now he's a starter in the league. I think that's the only thing that's gonna take spring football and put it over the top, right? That's the only thing that's gonna take spring football. If Clemson and Carolina are bringing $50K plus to a spring scrimmage, and the XFL's bringing in 17,000, the only way you're gonna fix that is to start sending guys from your teams to the league to draw with the next generation of stars is playing today, because right now they're not. Or at least it doesn't feel like it. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got some more NFL draft stuff we need to get into. A lot of discussion about what the Panthers did and did not do in the draft. Some other teams that played really well. Some other teams that drafted very poorly. All of that and more coming up in just a little while. I am Rob Brown. That's the great one, Lonzo. You, ladies and gentlemen, are listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Mostly sunny skies here for today, a high around 66. And tonight, mostly clear, low near 47. Tuesday, sunshine high around 68 degrees. Wednesday, plenty of blue skies and sun high 69. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on the Fan.
I got to go check some audio, guys. I will be right back. All right, y'all, we're back. Thanks for hanging out. Y'all are the best.
90% clear skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizzy.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
Sponsored by Bare Knuckles Fighting Championship.
Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship finally debuts in Greenville at Bon Secours Wellness Center Friday, May 12th. See the King of the Carolinas, Tony Loco Soto, fight Tyler Goodjohn, plus 11 other bare knuckle fights. Tickets at BKFC.com.
Now, CBS
Yep.
Sports Radio.
Here's how to get in the game. On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville. 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3.
She is so missing an opportunity there because just because you won't do it doesn't mean somebody else wouldn't. Talk about it.
The Rob Brown Show continues, ladies and gentlemen. Robin Lonzo with you. Big day of sports today, Zoe. Because of a bunch of rainouts. The NASCAR race got rained out this weekend. It will run today, this afternoon. The Braves and the Mets saw both their Saturday and Sunday games rained out. So they will play a doubleheader today in New York. The Braves and the Mets go back to back. They also will add a doubleheader to the schedule in August to make up for the loss of games due to the rain. So you got 2 Bravos games today, and you've got a NASCAR race all on a Monday. Be a good day to be Rob Brown, y'all. Really excited about that.
So there are bad days to be Rob Brown?
No, not one.
Okay, all right.
Not a single one. Let me do this. Sound, if you don't mind here. Zoe, I'm going to go with Lonzo and I have talked about what we consider the art of trolling. Trolling, like everything else, is something that must be practiced in order to excel. Which is why I advise that if you're going to troll, you start small and you work your way up. See, Lonzo trolls entire listening audiences at a time, but Lonzo's been doing this for a couple of decades and some change now. He's got the practice. Jason McCourty is a former NFLer, spent some time playing for the Tennessee Titans. He is now an analyst for the NFL Network. And Jason McCourty announced the Titans' second-round draft pick this past weekend. That draft, of course, was in Kansas City, home of the Chiefs. And Jason McCourty decided to try a little trolling himself. I'm going to start with clip 1 on this one, Zoe. Jason McCourty opened with what I consider a pretty weak effort to start a troll. Here's what McCourty said. Okay. It's an effort, right? It's an effort. There's a connection between Houston with both of those teams. McCourty makes a crack at Mahomes coming up short. Okay, fine.
Here's a little bit of a critique here. First of all, if I saw him do this, I was watching when he did it, and he walked out. I think the crowd overwhelmed him just a little bit.
Yeah,
because that's the most people I think that's ever been in an NFL draft. If you look at how many people are out there, there is a lot of people out there. The other thing is you got to hesitate. I know you're nervous. If he hesitates on his crack about the Super Bowl, let that crowd build. It's a wrestling technique, yes, but let that crowd build a little bit before you move on.
It was an effort. All right. It wasn't good, but it was an effort nonetheless. But then McCourty did what you got to do. If all else is failing, in wrestling, we call it cheap heat, right? Cheap heat is when you take a easy joke about the local community, their sports teams, their favorite things, whatever. And in clip 1A, McCourty decides to go for the cheap heat. So he starts to realize, I think, that the planned heat out of the gate wasn't going great for him.
He should have led with the barbecue. You lead with the barbecue, then everything you say afterwards is going to hit.
Yep. You lead with the cheap heat. McCourty just learned that. You lead with the cheap heat, right? That's why you always hear The Miz come out. What's the first thing he does? He cracks on the local sports team's failures. You lead with a cheap heat. You get him to hate you out of the gate. And then you start to go with everything else. Now, I got no problem with throwing in the smack about the Colts and the Jags and their lack of success in that division as of late. No problem with it. That's all fine. But you lead with the bad food take. I will say this. It shows once again, when people ask Rob, why do y'all talk about food so much on the show? There's the response. My man came out, cracked on your Super Bowl winning quarterback, cracked on Kansas City's favorite Kelsey brother, cracked on the team, cracked on their lack of success, and none of it got the crowd quite as angry as your barbecue sucks. Nothing got them as mad. Now, I am going to say Kansas City style barbecue is fine. All right? It's fine. It's a slow barbecue process. It's an all-day process. You go with the thick, sweet sauce that is primarily based on brown sugar and molasses mixed in with some tomatoes. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And I would even go so far as to agree with McCourty that Tennessee barbecue sauce, Tennessee barbecue style is a little bit better. Is it the best?
Wait,
No.
is Tennessee mustard based?
No, the mustard base I think is more a Carolina thing.
Yeah, because I don't get mustard based.
Yeah. I think that Tennessee barbecue is a little bit better than Kansas City barbecue, right?
I wish I could be a part of this conversation because I haven't had barbecue from either place because I'm not a big barbecue fan. So
For the record, let's be clear. Traditionally, you're going to hear Memphis style barbecue, not Tennessee style barbecue, right? And Memphis style is a more traditional style. It's more smoked. They are slow smoked. typically more pulled than chopped, and you get a more tangy sauce out of it, which I prefer personally in myself. I also prefer wet over dry rub, but that's just subjective. You lead with the food takes, Jason. You lead with the food take, then you insult the sports team, then you start making it personal. That's the correct order of operations here. Overall, though, I'm going to say that was a C+ effort out of McCourty. And it's a rookie mistake. He's new to the troll game. It's something you got to practice, you got to learn, you got to experience. Now he knows, right? He's going to walk back, he's going to take his notes, he's going to go, the food take got him angry, lead with that, then follow up with, your quarterback is short, then follow up with, and we run the division.
See, the other problem he has is he has pressure because another guy on Good Morning Football did it last year. So now he's trying to one-up him, and that puts added pressure onto it, so you probably make some mistakes trying to get at the home team a lot quicker, and you got to go with the barbecue. If you went with the barbecue, it would have been an A+ troll the whole way because the crowd would have been there the entire time.
Yep. You got to get them angry because once they're riled up, then it doesn't matter what you say after that. They're going to be mad about it, right? So you got to lead with a food take. Lonzo and I are giving you life lessons. If you've got to go and your job is to listen, I don't care if you're golfing with 3 of your buddies. If you want to start the smack talk and have a little fun with it, when you get to the course, you always hit them first with, here's why your favorite team sucks. You don't make fun of their first drive. On the way up to the tee box, you hit them with, yeah. You're a Jets fan, right? You suck. Then you start picking at them. It's a life lesson, all right? It's a life lesson. Let's take a break. When we come back, Anish Sharaff got an opportunity to sit down with Bryce Young, the play-by-play voice of the Carolina Panthers. Got a chance to talk to BY. It's a short little interview. I'm going to play it for you when we come back. We'll get some thoughts in on the responses, the attitude, the mentality of the new starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Mayonnaise-based barbecue? Okay, that's weird. I sent you something on Twitter about something that comes out tomorrow. It's 4-player co-op.
Yeah, so I've seen a little bit about this game. I think I'm interested. We might have to put a game night together for that.
It's also open world, supposedly. Never killed vampires like that before, so I'm looking forward to it. Probably download it tonight. I didn't check to see if it's available on Xbox One now.
I want to say it is. I want to say they've been. But yeah, we might have to put us a little little game party for this one night.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
It's like Call of Duty Vampires. I'm in.
It is. It is not coming to Xbox One. Sorry, Dave.
I'm just gonna have to put it together and buy it.
However, you can still play the game on that console via the cloud. Okay.
Why are you gonna put it on the cloud, but I can't buy it? That seems stupid.
So you could still play it though.
Yeah, on cloud.
Okay.
It's fine, except for it's slower and it doesn't. You can't really back it up.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
That is true, James.
Staples has everything to help small businesses do big things. Shipping supplies and services, so you can.
And some people on the radio to back that.
You can create the next big thing. And now during Staples Small Business Deal Days, when rewards members spend $100 or more, they get 30 back in rewards to use on big things, little things, or anything they need. Plus, find new deals in store every week on tech, office chairs, and shipping supplies. Because for small businesses, Staples knows savings are a big thing. Rewards offer ends 5/13. Limit 1. Redeemable in store only.
Kelly Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate. Answer a few questions about your car's history and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the hits, KDB.com.
Do I switch to PlayStation? Do I get a PS5?
Why would you? I mean, if you can afford, you should do both. But I know you can't probably. So, what would make you want to switch, though?
Most of my friends are PlayStation now.
Can they tell you why they chose it, though?
I think most of them have just been playing PlayStation for a very long time.
I'm not a console snob like some people are. I don't care if I can afford it, I get all of them.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, the PlayStation equivalent of Xbox Game Pass is not as good.
Yeah.
And that's one reason to stay with Xbox is being able to play games like this when they drop without having to purchase them.
Anish Sharaff, voice of the Carolina Panthers, got the opportunity to sit down with their first overall draft pick and probably starting quarterback in week 1, Bryce Young from the University of Alabama this past weekend. We're going to play that interview for you here. I want you to just really pay attention primarily to the humility of BY. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about it when the interview's done. And I want you to listen to the mentality of BY, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that I think have a little bit of brash to them, and I get nothing of that sort out of BY, courtesy of our friends over with the Carolina Panthers. Here is Anish Sharaff, voice of the Panthers, talking to one Bryce Young.
Anish Sharaff here with Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, rookie quarterback now for the Carolina Panthers. Describe what these last 24 hours have been like.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of emotions.
And yes, I know it's on the stream. I'm doing that on purpose.
It's a dream come
because
true.
We have permission
here and being able to experience this with my family. I'm super grateful for it. I'm still trying to soak it in real time, but it's a blessing.
What was that moment like when you found out for real you're going to be the guy, first pick, Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, it was crazy. Again, a lot of emotions running through my head. We're waiting in the draft room, and to see that Charlotte area code pop up, it was really crazy. It was great to talk to everyone in that moment, and with so many emotions, having my parents, having my family there, and be able to share that moment with them is something I hold on to forever.
Every journey has that pivot point, right? Whether it's adversity, doubt, internal or external. What was that moment in your career?
I think there's been a lot of times that, throughout the path and the journey that I've been on, I feel like, most people have been on that, that you're like you said, you're dealing with adversity, you're dealing with things not going your way. And, I think just throughout my life, there's multiple times where, you have that choice of, whether you want to let it overwhelm you or whether you want to let things be too much, or whether you want to, not address what you have to, or give up. And, for me, trying to be consistent in what I've done, I've had no lack of those moments, just like we all have. But, I've tried my best to lean on those that I love and have been in my corner, and to make sure that I'm consistent in my journey. It's not always the easiest, but again, I'm blessed to have an amazing support system and people around me that allow me to be here. So I'm grateful to be where I'm here today.
There's a lot of attention and spotlight that comes with being the number one pick and a quarterback. How did being at Alabama prepare you for that?
Yeah, I think it was great being in Alabama. Going into a place to where everyone's a big recruit, everyone's a big name, and there's such a high standard and a high set of expectations and goals that we have for ourselves. And for me, it's something that I've always chased. I've always wanted was to be able to be held to a standard, and to be able to chase that, and to want to be great, and want to be around people, want to be great as well. And being in Alabama, like you said, there's always a target on your back. There's always every week you're going to get everyone's best shot. And I think we all took pride in that. And I took pride in being a good teammate, and being my brother's keeper on the field. And we all held ourselves to a standard. And I think that I want to take that into this league as well, as far as trying to do everything to uphold myself to the standard, to the standard of the organization, to be there for my teammates, and have their back, because I know they'll have mine, and I want to earn that trust and respect. And I'm excited to start that journey.
Bryce, a lot of times a quarterback gets taken first overall, and there's not a lot of pieces surrounding them. It's all on the quarterback. You walk into a situation where this team has built a pretty good roster around you, and now people view you as maybe the final piece. What's that feeling like when you were drafted by Carolina, knowing what was surrounding you as you walk in as a rookie?
Yeah, I mean, it was really, it's great knowing, what I'm able to walk into. And again, I have so much respect for a lot of the people that are here. Some of that men that I haven't, that I've just been able to observe and have respect for. And, like you said, there's a lot of great pieces that I'm super eager to learn from, to work with, and to do my best day in and day out to try to earn that respect, to build that rapport with my teammates. And I'm grateful for everything I've done in the past, but I've never done anything in the NFL, and everything in the past doesn't entitle me to anything. So I know I have to earn everything. I'm excited to get to work with, like you said, such amazing pieces that we have. And I'm just excited to be around the team.
What do you want to learn from Andy Dalton?
Yeah, someone who's had so much experience. He's been around the league for a while. He's had a lot of success, and obviously there's a lot of wisdom that comes with that. You can't look into that one. For longevity he's had in his career and how long he's been here. Just been around the league. It's really something that I respect, and again, I feel like there's so much wisdom and knowledge that I can learn from him as well. So I'm super excited for that.
What was the appeal to you of this coaching staff, with so many different people who played the position you play, and also people who've coached the position, like a Jim Caldwell, for example?
Yeah, exactly. So many people that, like you said, have that mindset, have played or have coached the position extensively. That's an amazing situation for me. Obviously we don't get to choose, but going throughout the process, that was always something that was so super appealing, and I'm grateful for now. Being here, it was amazing coaching staff. It's an amazing coach staff to work with, and I didn't get to have a lot of time with them. You get your 130 visit and pro day and a combine, and in those short periods, obviously nothing compared to actually working day in and day out. In those very short periods of time, I was able to learn a lot. I was able to learn so much, and I kept leaving every time like, man, like I can't, I hope I get to have this every day. I hope I get to really see how I can grow and develop, if this is an everyday thing, because, I only get these 15 minutes of combine or one day here. And, now that comes to fruition, again, I know that there's so much wisdom that they're going to impart in me. So I want to be a sponge and come in and soak it all up.
Last thing, and I know you get tired of when people ask you about your height and your weight. So let's flip this. How has your size been an advantage for you? You've had so much success. How has your size been an advantage?
Sharp, man. Carolina is an amazing place already. Shout out to my dad. He always was like, no one ever asked that. We just recently talked about it, and he's like, all I ever hear is that, and no one ever asked how it helps you. And now it's been twice today in Carolina that question's been asked. It's never been asked before. So my dad would say thank you. For me, honestly though, I don't really look at it as an advantage or a disadvantage because I only know this way. I think I would need other perspective to figure it out. I don't have anything to compare it to. I've been this size my entire life relative to the people around me. And
So you've never seen it as a disadvantage like other people try to make it out to be.
no, not at all. I don't know how to play the game the other way. I don't look at it like, I don't drop back and think, how am I going to make this work because of my height, or how am I going to figure out, like, I just know how to play the position in the same way I figure out everything else. Like I've never known any other way. I don't look at it as an advantage. I don't look at it as a disadvantage. It's just, this is football for me. Like I don't know a different way. And, I love the game for what it is. I love, being who I am. I'm confident in myself. I know what I can do. It's going to take a lot of work, and, I'm excited to start that process. But I'm confident in myself, and I'm just ready to get to work and grow and with my teammates and the coaching staff.
Bryce, welcome to Carolina.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Love that answer. How has your strength been an advantage to you? And he goes, I don't know. Never been able to play the game any other way. I love that answer, man. I think that's the best answer to that question. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know how to be a tall quarterback, so I don't know what the advantages are. All I know is all I know, and that's what I'm going to do.
It is a good answer. It is a good question also. But when it comes down to it, can he throw a pass in the NFL without every other pass being batted down? We saw, I think, the amounts of passes being batted down across the league go up last year. So if he can avoid that, it's going to be awesome. If he can't, it's going to be a problem. And that's the first thing that will be criticized.
100%. I would also make the point.
Look at what happened to Baker Mayfield. He was getting batted down right and left behind that offensive line. So it's going to be decision-making on Bryce Young's part and how he handles those really tall guys going up in the air trying to block the passes that are coming from a little lower trajectory than what they're used to seeing.
I would not disagree. Here's what I would say. Bryce Young had the same number of tipped passes at Alabama that C.J. Stroud had at Ohio State this year. All right. So, and I would also argue respectfully to the Big Ten, the SEC had a better defensive line team by team than any other conference.
Still not the NFL, though. Still not the NFL.
You're right. Everybody's an All-American, but the SEC against that defensive line that you're looking at 9 times a year is as good as you can get comparatively. And he was just fine. So we'll see. All right. What are y'all's reactions to that interview from BY? Get some Stanley Cups and some NBAs in here when we come back. Rob and Lonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
In decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250.
Dude, by the way, I am rooting for Bryce Young. I hope he does awesome. I really do.
Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2023 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 9 premier upstate courses, and it's still only $99. Grab your foursome and get your Upstate Golf Cards now to play courses including Rolling Green, Links Tryon, the Club at Brookstone, the Rock Golf Club, and more. Order at theupstategolfcard.com. 9 rounds of golf for only $99. Upstategolfcard.com. Upstate.
Yes, probably going to buy tickets tonight. I haven't decided when we're going exactly. More than likely Thursday, though, Stephen.
There's a wedding season rush at Dr. Iona's dental practice. We can try and squeeze you in next Tuesday. She needs a dental hygienist to unveil fresh smiles. How long has 3 been under the UV light? Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
Also known as the Flash movie, but that's not until next month.
We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
To every woman with a will and a workbench. Every mom with a miter saw she's not afraid to use. Every daughter with a drill and the drive. To the women who get their nail guns together. The ones who are welding the gap. The same ones who DIY like no one's watching. At the Home Depot, we see the potential in you because you see the potential in everything. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
Upstate. Here's how to get in the game. On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
On your smart speaker, just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
The Rob Brown Show, now 19.
The first thing that's trending is Ezra Miller. Nothing. Ezra Miller is the actor who plays the Flash from the Flash movie in DC.
I knew that.
He was arrested at a karaoke bar. He didn't appreciate.
He's saying creep so badly.
No, he didn't.
That it was considered assault.
He wanted them to stop singing at the karaoke bar.
Take me too, because yes, Ezra, you are correct. You know what needs to stop in America? Karaoke.
So what song do you think?
I'm a creep.
Doom 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 doom.
That's the show. It's all over.
Same great show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now 19 AM only on The Fan Upstate.
Jim Rome in the jungle.
Aaron Rodgers is really now a New York Jet. Does Aaron make them a legitimate Super Bowl contender? Aaron Rodgers.
Gable's in first break.
Gable's first break. Beautiful.
What it does do is it gives them a legit seat at the table. As long as he stays healthy, while I cannot promise a deep postseason run, I love the big swing. For the first time in forever, the Jets actually matter. I love this move.
Jim Rome in the jungle at noon. The Fan.
Upstate.
CBS Sports Radio. When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere, so going, man. Listen to the Fan Upstate on Odyssey, no matter where you are. In the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search the Fan Upstate, and you're in the game. Hey, how we roll? The Fan Upstate. The Fan
Upstate.
Stephen, that's going to be entirely up to Rob. I would say not a problem, but we got to wait till it's approved by management. We don't know if it's the final or not. Yeah, Smith and Jigma is going to be good in the NFL. I really think so.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, yo. How we doing on a Monday? Everybody doing great? Everybody living the dream? I hope so. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo's on the other side of the metaphorical glass, pushing the buttons, switching the switches, making the show sound as good as it does every single day.
Shout out to Chris Lewis, by the way. He gets it.
Late to the party on this, but completely agree with your board, Lonzo. Jerseys are cool mementos, and for me, having different personal meanings depending on the jersey. Yeah. I think it's double when you work in this industry, right? Like Chris does, me and Lonzo do. It's different when you work in this industry because it's not just like I've got 4 different Triumph jerseys, for instance. But I have one specifically that was given to me by the team when I emceed their USL League One championship celebration a couple of years back. And that jersey does not get worn. That jersey is hung in the man cave as a celebration. The Bits got a jersey from them. Got a personalized name and number on the back as well. That jersey does get worn, but that jersey gets worn because I am not part of the team that plays, but part of the team that puts on the show. So that jersey is like an outward display of that. I think it hits a little different when you work in the industry, especially when the teams come from teams that you have a direct connection with.
There are snooty people, snooty fans out there, and some who have worked in this building before, that their take was, grown men do not wear jerseys. And it's like, again, look at the sales. Look at how many people are buying these jerseys. Be a fan however you want to. It's ridiculous putting stipulations on fandom as if you can define what fandom is, because you can't. Anyone who says that, it's also lame. You can't put parameters on fandom. That's what fandom is. And I don't care if you're 90 or 4 years old, wear a jersey if it makes you feel good and you feel like you're supporting your team. The people who are wearing a jersey, no, they know they're not playing for the team. But aren't they, though? Aren't you, as a fan, aren't you a part of that team? The fan base is a part of that. That team looks for that fan base to show up, to cheer them on. And if they look out and they see the colors of the team that you're representing, whether it's a jersey, a T-shirt, a towel, whatever, that's what when you're on the team, you want to see that. So if you're not a big enough, I'm not going to go. I'm going to be nice, like our guy last week, when he was going to be mean to the interviewer and he wasn't. I'm going to be nice.
Oh, Giannis.
Yes, in the end, wear a jersey, man. And if you're snooty, stop being snooty. Pull your nose down. Look straight ahead.
Very passionate about jerseys.
Yeah, because the people who are against it are so angry and arrogant.
Okay.
It's annoying.
Choir. I'm good. All right. Let me get to this story real quick. I'm always hesitant to go into stories like this because I believe there are certain elements of certain conversations that aren't mine to be had, right? I'm not, it is not my space to have a conversation in.
Why am I getting worried right away?
It's fine. We're going to talk about Deion Sanders. That's always a cool, chill topic.
I think I heard a little bit about this,
Sure.
or I read something about it, but.
So Deion Sanders said after the NFL draft that he was upset. In the entire NFL draft, there was one player drafted from a historically black college or university, an HBCU. Isaiah Bolden was a cornerback from Deion's old school, Jackson State. He is a cornerback and kick returner, said that he plans on, quote, plans to hold it down for HBCU players at the NFL. Deion responded in a tweet to Isaiah Bolden by saying, quote, so proud of you, Isaiah. You deserve to be drafted much higher, but I'm truly proud of you. I know how much you want this. I'm ashamed of the 31 other NFL teams that couldn't find draft value in all of the talented HBCU players, and we had 3 more draft-worthy players at JSU, end quote. Isaiah Bolden drafted by the Patriots in this draft, by the way. Now, I'm intrigued by that. And I think there's a conversation to be had by people who are more involved in that space than me. I'll give you an example. On Thursdays, we got our boy Rashad Beard, who joins us here on the show to talk Panther football. But his co-host, David Rhodes, hosts another podcast that focuses on HBCU football, right? I can go ahead and tell you, when Dave does his podcast responding to Deion, I'm going to listen to it the minute it drops. That's a space that Dave has a foothold in. I don't. I pay attention, I listen, but I don't feel like it's my topic to have a strong opinion on in regards to this conversation. I think there's a lot of variables at play that I can't know about. HBCUs don't have the resources traditionally that an Ohio State or an FSU or a Clemson or a South Carolina have to put their players on the radar for NFL teams to be made aware of. You've only got so many scouts in the organization that you can only send to so many places on so many Saturdays to watch guys play. And 2 HBCUs playing likely aren't going to have the same number of NFL caliber players as an ACC or a Big Ten matchup, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of variables we don't know. I think there's a lot of variables we can't know about as to why the HBCUs only produced 1 draft pick in this draft. But that's not what drew my attention to this. What drew my attention to this conversation was that it kind of feels like out-and-out hypocrisy from Deion Sanders, right? Deion Sanders showed up at JSU in 2020. He showed up at JSU and took over as the head coach and did so to a lot of fanfare in the HBCU football universe. Prime brought cameras and attention to the HBCU football sphere that had never really existed before. And when he got there, he made a big deal about how he believed a higher power had placed him in that place, in that spot, in that position, in that role as the head coach of JSU in order to elevate HBCUs into a more prominent position. And he went on record and basically said, this is my job, this is my role, this is where I want to be, I'm here for life, this is my spot. He was there for 2 seasons. Then he left to go to Colorado. Now, in the career trajectory of a college coach, I got no problem with that. That's a step up, right? And on top of that, how many coaches would love a job where the university breaks the bank to pay you? Colorado has effectively had to go into debt to be able to pay a salary that got Deion Sanders to be their head coach. I don't have a problem with any of that. I got no problem with Deion taking a promotion or stepping up in program height, in salary, et cetera, et cetera. What I do have a problem in is Deion Sanders calling out the entire National Football League, who, by the way, drafted black players from everywhere, calling out the entire NFL, saying HBCUs deserve better, there were more draft-worthy players than y'all drafted, et cetera, et cetera. The same Deion that showed up at an HBCU that was given a shot when, let's be real, Deion Sanders had 0 credentials to be a head coach at that level other than I'm Deion Sanders. Deion's resume was no deeper than his signature at the bottom of the page. That was it. I'm Deion. I'm going to bring you cameras and microphones like you've never seen before, which proved to be accurate, right? I don't have a problem with Deion stepping up. What I have a problem with is Deion throwing thinly veiled accusations of racism at the NFL, at the very worst, at the very best saying the NFL doesn't pay attention to HBCUs, with no particular reason given, when Deion Sanders had the ability to be the most effective PR for HBCU caliber football that HBCUs have ever had in the history of existence. And then he left. And he left in 2 years. He didn't even go a full 4-year cycle, right? He didn't even take a bunch of incoming freshmen to be seniors and get them graduated. Do you think that JSU and their opponents probably have some more NFL eyes on if Deion is there promoting them? If Deion is going on McAfee's show and the Barstool Network and promoting these outlets? If Deion is making calls to friends in the NFL and going, hey, I got this kid down here, left guard, should be a Power 5 prospect. This guy is an NFL player. Come down and watch. Yes. Deion, I have a problem with you calling out the NFL for not paying enough attention to HBCUs when you coached there 2 years, left for more money, left for a Power 5 school, left for more resources, and decimated the JSU roster on the way. The Colorado Buffaloes have seen, how many transfers out has Colorado had? 190, I think. Let's see what SI says. I forgot because they had like 18 come out of the spring. Let's see here. 41 Colorado players have entered the transfer portal since April 15th. Not since Deion showed up. Since April 15th, 41 players have transferred out of Colorado. Go back to, remember, when Deion showed up in Boulder, he rolled up into the building with a stack of Louis Vuitton suitcases and said, some of y'all gonna need to find somewhere else to play football because I'm bringing my bags, right? And he brought a bunch of JSU players with him. Now, I'll start with this. If those JSU players show up at Colorado and they play good football and Colorado is surprising and goes better than 6-6, then hell, maybe Deion's got a point, right? Maybe at that point, Deion can say, look, I brought a bunch of HBCU players to the Pac-12 and they went 7-5 or 8-4. These guys could have done this from the beginning if they got their chance, but they didn't. But I'm going to be real with you. I've been following Deion at Colorado. That team's going to be lucky to be 6-6. Because on top of the fact that Deion doesn't have the advantages he had at JSU. When Deion was at JSU, he was able to recruit the best HBCU roster in football. Why? Because kids want to play for Coach Prime. I want to be around Deion. It's not going to work the same way at a Pac-12 school. You're not going to get a kid to commit to Colorado instead of USC just because you're Deion. You got to prove to them what Deion can do for them. That can't be done by Lincoln Riley at USC. You got to prove to me that you can do for me at Colorado what Oregon can't do for me if you want me up out of Phil Knight's hood. And I don't know if he can do that. Deion has this year. Most coaches, we say what? They get 2 years, we judge them in the third, right? Deion doesn't get that. Not because he's Deion, but because Deion has had about 70% of the Colorado roster transfer out to be replaced by Deion's guys. This roster this year, this is not a year where you look at a coach like Matt Rule in Nebraska, and he goes, okay, this is the last guy's roster. We're going to give him 2 years to cycle his guys in. No, this is Deion's roster. Year one, Deion gave the boot to over half of the Colorado roster and brought his guys in. So Deion doesn't get to go, oh, I need a couple of years to get my culture in there. No. You kicked the door open and announced, my culture's here. My guys are here. Y'all can get the hell up out of here. And they did. All right? So Deion didn't get that. Now, if Deion's boys go in there and play well, then he can go, I just took an HBCU program and led them to a 7-5 Power 5 schedule. And that's great. But I am not about to hear Deion Sanders lay criticism of people are ignoring HBCUs when my dude bailed on one, destroyed their roster in the process after telling them to their face, I'm a lifer. I'm here to be an HBCU coach, and then took the first Power 5 job that got offered to him. I'm not trying to hear it, Dion. I'm really not.
I don't really have a whole lot to add. But if he goes in and he wins, then you can't really say anything to him because he's able to do that. But
it still doesn't change what he did to JSU.
No, it doesn't.
He still screwed them.
It does, and he did. But at the same time, he also brought attention to them while he was there.
And then destroyed them on the way out there. What is the good of building up a statue if you knock it down the day you leave? What was the point? What did you accomplish?
You had the statue for a while.
And it does you no good.
Wouldn't you rather?
We're all gonna go
Wouldn't you
back.
rather be at the top for a while? I mean, than never be at the top.
They were good.
Yeah.
How much JSU did anybody talk on this network?
Were
when
they
Dion was there outside of Dion?
Were they better when he got there? Did he make them better?
Only because he was able to recruit the best roster by being Dion.
So he made them better because of who he is.
And
I
now,
mean,
right. He made them better.
He's only who he is because of his talent and what he was able to do with
So
that.
now JSU is going to be able to, for the next decade, while they try to climb out of the hole that Dion kicked them into, Dion, this has sparted them into mediocrity. And when they climb out of that hole, they're going to come out and go, hey, thanks, Dion. Thanks for making us good for 2 seasons back in the early 2020s and then kicking the legs out from under us on the way out the door. It's not great. If I'm a JSU fan, I got no reason to thank Dion.
So
none.
So you're saying all this about Dion. What about the players who left? Shouldn't you be saying the same thing about them?
No, I got no problem.
Because they left
You're missing my
that
point now.
HBCU
You're
and went to Colorado.
You're skipping over the biggest part of what I said.
Am I?
Yes. Zero problem that Dion left HBCU to go to Colorado. None at all.
Yeah, but
Zero
you
problem.
talked about how he left the place worse when he left. Didn't all those players leave the place worse?
Yes, but I didn't hear any of those players very publicly say, I'm here for life. For life.
No, I agree. But you're putting the blame on them going back to mediocrity on Dion when the players leaving probably had a lot to do with that. Because if those players that he brought in stayed there, they'd probably still be pretty good.
Listen, you take the same risk with a celebrity head coach that you take with NIL. If your program, Miami Hurricanes, we pointed this out a couple of times, right? If you decide to use the NIL as your number one recruiting tool, right? If you sell a bunch of kids on, come play football here because you can make a ton of money in the NIL. And then the NIL goes away, and then so does all your talent because you picked all the guys that have money as a priority. It's on you. What's the old expression? Live by the sword, die by the sword, right? If you bring in a celebrity head coach like Deion Sanders, and then he leaves to go be a bigger celebrity elsewhere, yes, that is kind of on you. It's kind of on you. But when that celebrity head coach rolls up into the building and goes, I'm a lifer. I'm your guy. I am here to elevate HBCUs. I am here to elevate JSU to the highest of the mountaintops. I am here to use my celebrity as my number one resources to build you into something you have never been before and frankly wouldn't be capable without me. And you go, I'm in. We like that. We appreciate you being a lifer. We're going to make you comfortable for life. And then that guy bails on you after 2 years. Not 5, not 7, not 10. He bails on you after 2 years for the first job that comes open to him. I don't like that. You got to keep in mind, I'm a Deion Sanders fan. I love Deion the player. Neon Deion Primetime was one of my favorite players as a kid. That man played for my 2 least favorite teams in the NFL, the Falcons and the Cowboys, and I still love Deion because he was a G. But I lose respect for Deion in this scenario. I lose respect not just for the fact that he made all these promises to JSU and then he walked them all back. But I lose respect for him making the promises to JSU, walking them all back, blowing up JSU in the process, and then having the rocks to get in front of a camera and go, yeah, I'm ashamed of the other NFL teams who didn't find value in HBCU. My man, if you found the value at JSU that you want the NFL to, you'd still be there. But you decided the paycheck from Colorado was nicer, so you wanted there. So you don't even view JSU. You don't even view HBCUs with the value that you are complaining you weren't getting from JSU. Stop, dude. Stop. No. That's gross and I don't like it. Let's take a break. When we come back, Stanley Cup breakdown, NBA playoff breakdown, Twitter trending topics, and we call it a day. Rob and Lonzo and you and the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
Got to tell you, Gables.
All right, guys, got a live read right here. Be right back. Don't go nowhere.
deals from Family Dollar. Surprise
Black cherry just as good.
like gift cards, casual
Black cherry is good.
Yes.
all beautifully packaged with
Stronger flavor.
and handmade cards at a great price. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey.
Right now, we're to the point where one of the only reasons why we still go to Walmart for groceries is because of the water. That and $7 T-shirts. I mean, you know.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, with you on a beautiful upstate Monday morning. Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs all going on. Right now, we have the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, the only player in the history of the league to drop a 50 spot in the playoffs after the age of 35. Back on Friday, we had Kings-Warriors Game 6. The Warriors were able to square it up at 3 apiece. It forced it to Game 7. And then they won that Game 7 on Sunday, going away 120-100. Did the Golden State Warriors. Steph went 58 boards, 6 assists in that one. You don't have to love him, but Steph Curry is still that dude.
So
50 spot, my man.
Binky in full effect, unfortunately. So we get the matchup that people kind of want to see.
Braun v. Steph.
Yeah, but they're not really going against each other that much. The question is,
Braun runs the point surprisingly more than you think.
In a knockdown drag out fight, who wins between Draymond and LeBron James? It's been close a couple times throughout the years.
That's a great question.
And Draymond's really Draymond. He's younger. And he's really been pushing it lately. But LeBron's in good shape, and LeBron's not going to fight clean. I just know, because Ohio boys, we don't do that. We don't fight clean. So I'm gonna put my money on LeBron. But it wouldn't shock me if it didn't come to that in this.
The Lakers get in by way of their dub over the Grizz. They take a 4-2 series win on Friday night when they blew the door off the Grizzlies. 125-85.
Who was that guy again who said LeBron was old?
Dylan Brooks, who we talked about the troll job of McCourtney earlier. Here's the other side of that coin. If you drop a troll job and then you get your ass kicked, you got to show up and answer the bell, my man. See, because Dylan Brooks, he left, dude. No handshake line for DB. He went to the locker room. No media appearance for Dylan Brooks. He skipped right out on the postgame presser.
That's a good move for him, though. I mean,
you got to face the music, my man.
I don't think you do. I think he's not a high enough caliber player as far as stardom goes.
Then shut your mouth,
I think you can. I think you can get out of there without.
No.
And him leaving says it all. He knows that he lost in a couple different ways, and so just go home.
If you run the trash and then you get it kicked back in your face, you answer the bell. You answer the music. That is the coward's way out. To talk the heat, then get smoked in smoked in game 4. A 40-point defeat in game 4. A game where LeBron went off for 22 and was plus 32 in the plus minus. A game in which you put down 10 with 4 boards. Show up and face the music. DB did not. He took off. His Grizz are done. Then on Saturday, the Nuggets and the Suns got it underway in the Western Conference semifinals, game 1. And Jay Murray is that guy, man. Murray's so good. 34 and 9 assists for it. Kevin Durant's 29 and 14 boards were not good enough. The Nuggets knocked the Suns off 125-107 in a game that wasn't that close.
Wait. So Kevin Durant lost?
Yes, Kevin Durant lost. I mean, the Phoenix Suns lost, but Kevin Durant's on that team. He's not having fun right now. 29-14, an assist and a steal, 3 blocks for KD in that one, but the Suns just had nothing for the Nuggets in game 1. I still think that's going to be a close series, but Jamal Murray played such good ball that Nikola Jokic, an MVP finalist this year, said Jamal's that guy. We're following him. And yeah, I would say you are. Sunday, game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Heat knocked off the Knicks 108-101. Jimmy Butler went 25 points at 11 boards, but he ended up with a bum ankle. He got his ankle stepped on and turned over. He was hobbling late. Here's how good Jimmy Buckets is. With a busted up wheel, with a flat tire, the Knicks were still double teaming Jimmy Buckets, opening up the floor for everybody else. It's not just about getting a 40-piece for Jimmy Buckets. It's about opening up the floor for everybody else. And he absolutely did that. Butler had 25. Vincent had 20. Adebayo had 16 in that one. Playoff Jimmy is a different caliber. Warriors finished off their 120-100 win in Game 7, also on Sunday, which brings us to tonight. The Eastern Conference semifinals get started. 76ers v. Celtics tonight at 7:30. No Joel Embiid for the 76ers. Their NBA MVP candidate is out. He got that busted wheel early in the last series. He is still listed as doubtful to go tonight for the Sixers. The Celtics, on the other hand, through the playoffs, Tatum's averaging 30 points a game. And without the best interior defender Philadelphia has, I would not be shocked to see him get it again. And game 2 between the Suns and the Nuggets is tonight out in the West. Denver, as we just mentioned, leads that series 1-0 so far. There's nothing I don't like about these NBA playoffs so far. Game 2 of the East tomorrow, Heat and Knicks. Lakers Warriors will get their series started off on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't care about the West Coast, so I think they need to make those games a little bit earlier for me because it's all about me. I don't care about that supposed big audience that you talk about and everything. East Coast is all that matters. They need to bring that time down at least 1 hour.
I mean, first off, it's not a supposed big audience. It's the number 1 TV market in America.
Yeah, according to you. I'm not going to look it up, so I'm going to go with supposed. Because I don't want to confirm anything that you're saying, because then it wouldn't be about me anymore, and so it's about me, and so I want it earlier so I don't have to stay up so late to watch it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate sports at Eastern time. Hate them. You know how many Stanley Cup games I have stayed up?
No,
for
I
at
hate sports in
10:30
Western
puck drop?
time. Western time. I don't care about your California time crap. Things get done over on this coast. Keep your Hollywood stuff over there and bring the sports
Says
down
the
to a
guy
time.
who's seen all the movies.
Guardians 3 comes out this week, by the
Yeah,
way.
no, I'm pretty excited about it. Stanley Cup playoffs on Friday night. The Canes finished off the Islanders, a 2-1 overtime victory. They're able to knock off New York 4-2. The Panthers had to win 3 in a row. They were down 3-1 in this series. Friday night, they win 7-5, a 12-goal Avalanche. Speaking of the Avalanche, they dropped the Kraken on Friday night 4-1. Stars went up over the Wild, but it was the weekend in hockey that was exceptional. The Maple Leafs in Game 6 broke the curse and got by the Lightning. They had the Lightning down 3-1. The Lightning climbed back in 3-2. And everybody started looking and going, uh-oh, Tampa is going to prolong the misery of Leafs fans. Nay, my friend. Toronto gets it done 2-1. The Rangers and the Devils, their series ended up tied up as the Rangers beat the hell out of Joyce 5-2. And then the Oilers went up over the Kings and won the series out west in the first round, knocking off LA 5-4 and ending their season. Last night was stunning. Last night was the reason that I have said the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are my favorite sports postseason, only superseded by college baseball. College baseball has the best postseason in sports, but the Stanley Cup playoffs are right there. Not one, Zoe, but 2 Game 7s last night. One of them featured the reigning, defending, undisputed Stanley Cup champs, the Colorado Avalanche. The other one of them featured the best regular season hockey team in the history of the National Hockey League. The Boston Bruins were unbelievable this year. The Boston Bruins were the most successful regular season team in the NHL. They set league records for wins with 65. They set a league record for points in 135. You contrast that to the Florida Panthers. Florida won 42 games. They were 23 games out of the Boston Bruins. They had to scrap just to get into the playoffs. The Panthers scored like 50 points fewer on the season than did the Boston Bruins. They found themselves in a 3-1 series hole to the Florida Panthers. Last night, they found themselves trailing the Boston Bruins 3-2 with a minute left to play in the game. They pulled the goalie. Bob went to the bench. The Panthers leveled the game 3-3 with 56 and a half seconds remaining. Boston could not find the go-ahead goal inside the last minute. We went to OT, and the Panthers finished them off. Vercegni goes ahead, puts one through with a wild shot off to the right, crossed the face of the goalie, and went top shelf left. The most successful team in the history of the NHL gets bounced in round number 1. That's impressive. Let's compare that. The best regular season team in the history of the National Football League, the 07 Patriots, went 16-0. Do you remember what happened to them, great one?
The Giants knocked them off.
They sure did. The helmet catch, they lost the Super Bowl. But they got there. The greatest NBA regular season team of all time was the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. They didn't lose 10 games that year. They were 73-9. Do you remember what happened to that team? They lost in the finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They did not win a trophy. The greatest Major League Baseball team of all time was the 2001 Mariners. They won 116 games. They lost only 46. Remember what happened to that team? They lost to the Yankees in the American League Divisional Series. Of the 4 Big Four, all of the greatest regular season teams made it at least out of the first round until the 22-23 Boston Bruins, who were 65-12-5, got bounced in the first round by the 42-win Panthers. But that wasn't all. We weren't done. Rob Brown stayed up late because the Seattle Kraken The debuters went up in a Game 7 against the Colorado Avalanche. The Stanley Cup champs were at home against Seattle in a series in which the Kraken won their first ever home NHL playoff game. This one felt like it was going to be all Avs all night. The Seattle Kraken got the 2-1 win and put away the defending champs' hopes of doing it again. Last night, back-to-back Game 7s against the best regular season team ever and against the reigning defending undisputed Stanley Cup champions, and both underdogs got it done by one. Incredible night of hockey. We're going to have Kyle Sullivan join us either tomorrow or Wednesday to catch us back up as we get it ready for round 2 to begin. Back after this to wrap up our show on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. What must you do down in Baton Rouge, Stephen? I'm not uber familiar with Baton Rouge like I am, say, New Orleans. It might be worth it to take a little one-day run up to New Orleans. It's only like an hour, I think, to get there. And if you do that, I'll have plenty of thoughts for you. There's a couple of music venues. I don't know how long you're staying, but there's a couple of good places to go see some live local music, which I would suggest finding some Cajun Zydeco to listen to and check that out. That's always a win-win.
Morton.
Beat the Phillies 4-3. In Boston, the Red Sox pounded the Guardians 7-1. The Orioles 5-3 winners in Detroit. The Rangers pounded the Yankees 15-2. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash.
Charlie Morton.
I'm Andrea Costa-Ruiz with NFL Network Now.
You mean the real Death Valley, Steve?
It was a memorable NFL draft in Kansas City with 259 players hearing their names called, with over 312,000 fans attending the 3-day event. The Rams didn't have a first-round pick, but they drafted 14 players, the most by any NFL team. The Dolphins, by comparison, had the fewest selections with just 4. Not a huge surprise that 2 SEC powerhouses, Georgia and Alabama, topped the list with 10 players drafted from each school. Michigan was third with 9, also becoming just the third school since 1980 to have a punter and kicker drafted in the same class. Meanwhile, there were some notable undrafted free agents getting calls after the draft. Former Kansas City Warner, the son of our NFL Network Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, signed with the Bucs, while HBCU standout and former Florida A&M edge rusher Isaiah Land signed with the Cowboys. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe. Fix some seats so every fan can enjoy every.
So we had the toilet paper discussion Saturday. The over/under thing.
Over.
Just because. No, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. The people who are like Rob Brown, who are so it has to be over. Someone on the show said they actually would go into the bathroom here and change them to the other way. Dude, it's almost like religious persecution. You got angry when I mentioned it. That's weird. You got to understand how weird the toilet paper and the stream lit up with all the over people.
Correct.
No, there is no correct way.
There absolutely
There is no correct way.
Literally the patent on the device.
So if you go and you got to go and you go and the toilet paper is the wrong way to you, do you not use the toilet paper? Do you get up and go dirty somewhere else to find it where it's put on the roll correct,
No,
in your
I just
opinion?
flip it over because
So you would flip it before you would use it.
Yeah.
You don't find that weird?
No.
That is so weird. That is so
How
weird.
is sitting there doing your business
That is so weird.
any different than
No, it's the condescending looks. And I know you guys see it, the condescending looks. That is weird.
Yeah,
Psychology is such an amazing thing. To see how certain people, it's more power of the mass mind. You got to go with how everybody else does this, so you have to do
Literally,
it.
the patent for the toilet roll holder says you're supposed to.
I don't go up to something and go, okay, I need to use this. I wonder what the patent says. No one does that. No one goes up and says the patent. You just use that to justify your position, when in the end, it doesn't matter. You're wiping your butt. Who cares if it's over or under?
I do. It is convenient to just be able to go,
Yeah. It's not, and it's more than care. It's anger.
It's definitely over. I grounded my daughter because she kept going under. True story and great parenting. I agree. That is good.
Yeah, that's so you
teach her
guys
the
are
ways of
weird.
the world,
You guys are so weird.
That's excellent parenting.
That's why the world will end in like the next 5 years.
That's why.
Yes.
Because people are.
That's the exclusive reason why. Yes. Because people are unyielding on positions to the degree that they're not open-minded enough to realize that there's some people are over, there's some people under. In the end, you're wiping your backside. It don't matter.
It does matter.
That would be the equivalent of the cheap pop on Saturday, because I knew what it would do. And
Yes, just like if you walk into a place and you go, your football team sucks, you're gonna get a reaction, and justifiably so.
no, that makes sense. The toilet paper thing makes no sense at all. I used to think it was a rich poor argument, but it's not.
No, it's a right wrong argument.
No, there is no wrong way. There's no right way either.
The toilet paper goes over.
There's no right way. There's no
Yeah,
wrong way. It's
the
just
right
toilet
way is
paper.
over, the wrong way is
If you have to fight with anger, and there's anger from you and from others when you mention this, that's weird, dude. It's weird. It's toilet paper. I don't look and go, how dare they put it under? I'm not wiping my butt here. That's just I mean, come on.
Nobody does that. We just
Dude,
fix it.
Dude,
to be correct.
your reaction a little bit earlier on the stream, which you should watch, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I know we're almost done, but we'll be here tomorrow. The reaction is the same reaction I get out of a lot of people. I don't have to troll in this. It's weird. It just is weird. The passion about toilet paper makes no sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, text us fan over or fan under to 71307. Does the toilet paper wrapper or toilet paper holder go under or over when you're reinstalling?
Way to go, Jennifer. Jennifer on the stream says that's why I just set the roll on the counter. There you go. Forget your over under rules. Pick the thing up and get what you need off of it, however you choose. That way you don't have to judge.
Jennifer, I'm going to go ahead and say lovingly, and I appreciate you being here. If my fiance rolls into the bathroom and I just set the toilet paper on the little platform there, no. Just put it on the roll and put it over. It's done.
It's not done. I think
Over, fan, over, check the original patent case closed. Mike says over. Bill says over, and one, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to say you
It's
people.
5-1 out the
I'm going to
gate.
say you people, and I mean you people. You people are hilarious. The people who put this much thought and passion into toilet paper. It's weird. Rob, dude, it is so weird. It is so weird. And this ain't a work though. It's not. You actually feel that way.
Yes.
And you're the reason why I brought it up Saturday, because I wanted to see if there were more weird people like you out there, and there are. It's so odd.
Text line, we are 7-1 for over.
Yeah.
So yes, it's just.
I'm shocked there's a one
It's
because
all of us over people that are, the overwhelming majority. It goes over.
no, it's the anger. It's the judgment.
Yeah, because you're being blatantly wrong.
Hey,
listen,
I try to be a person of love. I don't want to go, you know what? We can't be friends anymore because you put the toilet paper under, and I will do it under on purpose to make people like Rob get mad because it's just dumb. It's a dumb argument.
Naked is absolutely natural. There's nothing wrong with it. Being naked is fine.
Here's
But
what he's
if
going to
you-
compare something
But
totally
if you
different.
walk
that
down the
doesn't.
street naked, society as a whole has deemed that inappropriate. In the grand scheme of things, it really shouldn't be. It's just a human body. We all got the same things here and there.
Doesn't work.
It absolutely
Doesn't work.
does.
It doesn't work.
Society has levied that some things are just against the well-being of the community.
Society.
And going over the top
So
is
this
the correct
this
decision.
is a societal norm.
Yes.
Yeah, is it? Okay.
It's 8-1
What-
out of the gate.
Is it societal, whatever? Is it normal in society to be this angry and passionate about toilet paper?
When people are doing something blatantly wrong, if somebody drives down the wrong side of the highway, I get mad.
It's not the
This
same
is the
thing.
exact same
It's not.
thing.
You're about to wipe
It's
your
like
booty.
driving the wrong
It
way
doesn't
down the
matter.
interstate.
It doesn't matter.
It's terrible. Don't do it.
You're cleaning your backside. Doesn't matter if it's over or under. You just want it to be 2-ply. That's all that matters.
I will say this: if I come into your place of business and you're using like single ply
Yeah, that's
toilet paper,
it's cheap and it's ridiculous.
I will go here. I'll make you feel better, Zoe. I would rather all the toilet paper holders in the world be under with good TP than over with bad TP.
Wow, that's a compromise for you.
That's my
It's-
compromise.
and it was straight faced and
Dead
everything.
serious.
So
If I walk into your bathroom and you've got that toilet paper that if I breathe on it, it falls apart, I can't trust that TP. I'm about to waste the whole roll. All right.
and it takes pulling that entire roll, whether
Yeah.
over or under,
Yeah.
out before you feel comfortable with
What
it.
an incredible Twitter trending topics to end the day. You're all welcome for that incredible bit of entertainment we just provided. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your Monday. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. I hope you have a spectacular rest of your day. We're back here tomorrow to do it all over again on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Aesthetically pleasing. Okay.
Also correct. Under is not easier to tear. What are you talking about?
It is easier to tear.
It is
I completely agree
You
with
guys
you.
are just making stuff up.
No,
now.
no. Over is definitely because you got to put your hand up there to tear with the over. The under you don't. It's automatically there. You could just rip it off. I don't.
I don't know what the hell you people are talking about. I really don't.
Thank you, Trey. Trey also agrees. It's just about tearing. I don't immediately go, oh my
He
feng
just said if
shui.
it's under, the paper tears quicker than I want it to, which is also correct.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I want to make sure I get the amount of boat tickets that I want to get before it rips.
I've never heard of them called tickets before,
Yeah,
but
boat
okay.
tickets.
That's got to be a Florida thing. I have never heard that before, ever.
Any of y'all ever heard that term before? Bleep tickets?
No
Boat
way.
tickets?
There's no way anyone's ever heard of that.
100% there is.
I bet you do a survey. You go around this building. You're the only one who's ever heard of that.
Bet. I'll go find out.
Well, I'll go with you. I've seen how skewed surveys go in this building. When I said the majority of this building knows about wrestling, and Chris went to everyone he knew was not a wrestling fan, and then said, "See." And he knew the ones who were wrestling fans and avoided them on purpose.
It doesn't matter. Seashells are in our future. What are the 3 shells for? Excellent reference, Steven. Excellent reference.
And then the laughter, he doesn't know how to use the seashell. Do you know who you're laughing at?
All right, guys. Y'all are awesome. Thank you very much. We will see you back here tomorrow to do it again. Have a lovely rest of your day. Goodbye.